Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to the first episode of More Comics, where you can get more of what you want. Thank you for joining me today. Much appreciated, and all the good things go out to your listeners because this is going to be a great episode. I just want to touch base on a few things that I'm going to talk about, and as it relates to a bunch of great news in comics. Um, if you haven't heard, or if you do not know, or if you haven't seen yet, the big crossover on the CW with The Flash, Arrow, Black Lightning, DC Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and Batgirl, you are missing out. I mean, they really did a great job. They over the top did amazing work with the costumes. Did amazing work with the writing was awesome. And then to a spoiler warning to cap it all off, they're back on one planet and they're back on the same universe. So now Black Lightning gets to link up with everyone, and so does the Martian Manhunter and everybody. So this is going to be epic. And then Diggle got supposedly um, the Green Lantern ring. So this going to continue on, and this universe is really going to blow up. I can't wait to hear and see more of what the CW is going to, and Greg Berlanti is going to be doing. So stay tuned. I am going to be talking about it. I am going to also try to talk about Black Lightning and his show, because they're doing some great things on this show as well, bringing in some fresh meat and some good actors to play some cool roles as their universe also expands. So to top it all off, some of the big things that we want to get into today is to talk about these major characters that have been created over time and are prolific and have had an impact um, on comic book and on certain communities as well. So definitely want to touch base. In the first character, okay, I'll give you the list first. How about that? So the entire list first. It would be Midnight Sun. Some of you may know Midnight Sun from Marvel. Then it's Charlotte Jones, Cardiac, Steel, Starlight, or Vaporlock. That's Natasha Irons, which is John Irons' daughter, which is Steel. So that's going to be interesting. JJ Thunder from DC Comics, as well as the Green Galaxy Ranger, which is awesome. I had to put him in there. You'll know why later on. Chocolate Thunder, and also Green Lightspeed Ranger had to put in there also. So um, we're gonna break down who they are. We're gonna break down their powers and abilities, their story, the significance in comics, why you should be paying attention to them, because these guys are going probably most likely going to be making their way into either the TV universe, the cinematic universe, doing some cameos here and there, and also we're going to talk about like future iterations about how they're going to be coming out into the big screen, or if they're going to be coming back into comics if they died in the past, and just all different type of scenarios. So definitely stay tuned as we go into depth. So first and foremost, I do want to bring up my man Midnight Sun, all aka M or M9 from the Marvel Universe. I do want to talk about him as he is a very interesting character, but he's even more interesting because there's going to be a Shang-Chi movie coming out, and he had played a prominent role in Shang-Chi's life. And so we're going to touch on that as well. Um, aka Midnight or Dark Destroyer was some of his names. And he was created. Actually, he was created by Steve Englehart, Jim Starlin, and Al Milgrom. Now, Jim a lot of characters, and so he's made his way and done a lot of great things in comic books. That's a name to keep in mind, and just to um, never forget if you're a big fan. So So who the heck is this character called Midnight Sun, right? So Midnight Sun, as a child, like these British people came into his village and ended up like attacking the village and blah 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 and attacking the village um and they ended up destroying everything. However, he was able to be saved. Um and by like this guy called Fu Manchu, which is also the father of Shang-Chi. And then Shang-Chi and Midnight Sun became friends. So Midnight Sun's original name is Mne or M9. Um, but later on, after Shang-Chi left his father, um, because he found out who he really was, his father sent Midnight Sun over to try and get him or try and find out where his son is at. They ended up getting into a brawl, and Shang-Chi ends up snapping Midnight Sun's neck. What happens later was even more interesting because he ends up, so that was his death. So he ends up being resurrected by the Kree. Kree takes his brain, puts it in a new body, so on, and ta-da, you got a new character. Yo, you got a new body. And this body is like outrageously insane. I mean, you could go out of space, he could breathe underwater, he can fight, enhanced abilities. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We'll get more into his powers and abilities in a moment. But the significant part about this is he's played a big role in Shang-Chi's life. Even if in the comics he's only appeared in maybe 20 to 30, maybe 20 editions in the comic book, but he's had a major impact as Shang-Chi's best friend. So to look at this and to actually think about like, yo, Shang-Chi or the movie is going to be coming out, which also means that potentially this character, Midnight Sun, can possibly be part of that movie. So this is a great opportunity for you comic book fans, comic book heads, the blurs out there. Definitely look into him because you're gonna know, you're gonna learn a little bit about him because the comics, they don't really do good diligence on his backstory. But the simple fact that this is the MCU and a new universe, you can change up the story and you could have things look different or you can have the experience different. Kind of like how they did with Baron Mordo. Baron Mordo was a white guy and they had a black guy play his role, which is a very good touch because that actor is a very, very good actor. And I forget his name off the top of my head. Um, so then, just to continue his story, so then he just ends up later on being joining with like the White Dragon, and they decided to kill a bunch of clan leaders. But he also wanted, like, he had a thirst for power, so he was trying to get power um, with the White Dragon through black magic and through a bunch of other rituals. So the issue with that is um, he ends up not getting all the power, and he ends up um, going to getting brought down and getting kind of like sent to hell, if you would, because the woman that he was with ends up getting all the power. So that's like in of itself, you know, it sucks, right? So the woman that he's with ends up getting all the power, and and he ends up getting in hell. It's funny, he was calling out to near his death or near his departure, I should say in quotations. He was calling out to Shang-Chi to save him, and he didn't. So it'll really interesting if the movie touches based on that. I know this story is kind of more lenient towards Midnight Sun, but it's kind of like if they were able to make the movie in relation to Midnight Sun and Shang-Chi, just having the catalyst being um Midnight Sun, like being in between Shang-Chi and his father, and because of who Midnight Sun is, Shang-Chi realized that, oh, his father's not in a really good place, or his father's not who he says he really is. And so that would mean, then that would give Shang-Chi an understandable amount of animosity towards his father. So anything is possible. I haven't read um, the the description or the storyline for Shang-Chi. What I think I do know is that the rings of power are going to be part of it, um, because he is his father. Potentially, what's going to happen is father. They might make his father the Mandarin. That way, and then that's that connection there with Iron Man and with the Avengers and so on. All right, so there's a few tidbit about Shang-Chi, his powers and abilities, right? So after his death, like there was a Kree scientist, his name was like Car Sag. He transformed it into a Kree soldier, right? And then he transferred Midnight's brain into a powerfully like cloned body. So this cloned body was basically this all black body with a cape, and most of the time he had a sword, and he was also had like a hat going with him as well. It's a pretty cool looking character, and he had like this red band going across his chest. um so it's pretty cool. And so the interesting part about the body was had enhanced strength, speed, durability, coordination, martial art skills, and that was like to an extraordinary degree, right? So that his abilities expanded and leveled up, and I'm talking about leveled up. Even in the depths of space, like he was able to like beat up the Silver Surfer. That's huge. So his skill was like extremely unbelievable speed, and he has so much precision where space has no gravity, right? So very powerful guy. After his enhancement, um, and he also can turn invisible, and so that also makes sense. I don't know. I'm curious if it's a dark matter thing, because Kree may use that ability, may use that type of power in their enhancements of people. Um, but that'll be good to know. That'll be good to see if they touch base on that in the movie, or if he's a character in the movie. So that's basically his story. Very short story according to the comics. Um, he did have the different phases. He did have different phases. Like I said, he had a tragic past where his family was. Sorry about that. That's just a notification. Where his family was. Where his village was taken or destroyed, and then he died, which sucks. But right before his death, Midnight was grabbed by Kang into the time stream, which is another thing. So Kang is actually part of his storyline, right? So, but Kang had tried to employ him in his Legion of the Unliving, which attacked the Avengers at some point. And then Midnight fought Mantis to a standstill, and Mantis was able to flee. So there was a lot of things that Midnight Sun has done. Midnight, he then caught up with Mantis, but was defeated and sent back to his proper place in time by Immortus. Um, so so that was interesting. That happened right before his death, and then after his resurrection, he was then an agent of the Kree, doing their duties, and then he eventually, actually later on, he eventually had a reunion while on the moon, and this is when he would fought Silver Surfer. Um, they fought as Midnight Sun attempted to make the surfers talk to him. The battle was like is seen by the Inhumans. Midnight Sun was injured in the fight and had to remove his mask. The Surfer was horrified by Midnight Sun's appearance, terrified, scared. As Midnight Sun fought to hide his face, the Inhumans appeared. And then the Surfer informed them that he did not know who Midnight Sun was, but they departed as friends. So that ended well, even though Midnight Sun was beating him up. um, and then they end up finding out that he was the brother of Shang-Chi, or even the best friend of him as well. So that's basically his story. It's worth a read. He's only appears on a few comic books, so it's definitely worth a read. By all means, go online and read it online, or you can subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, which is a great way to get access to a lot of Marvel's characters and a lot of um, and also a lot of Marvel comics as well. So feel free, let me know um, what you think. Comment down below. This is going to be posted on More Comics website at morecomics.wordpress.com. So you'll be able to talk about everything in our forum. Excuse me. Ooh. And also you'll be able to soon enough, it's going to be on Spotify, it's going to be on iTunes, so stay tuned. And thank you for listening to More Comics, where you can get more of what you want.